Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode number 10 of AI Talks with Innovators. This is my podcast that I just recently restarted after 3 months. And I would like to kind of take this technology with me everywhere in my backpack and talk to innovators building something with AI. Olga, how are you? Thank you so much. And Promit, thank you so much. We'll come to both of you. Olga, tell us what's your name, what do you do, what's your startup about?
Yeah, so as you said, Olga Tröger is my name, and I am CEO and co-founder of Ray AI Solutions. We are a hybrid agency doing not only AI strategy, but also building products. And we help our clients do that in a responsible and ethical way.
Wonderful. Ethos, responsible AI. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yes, sure.
Let's go to Promit. Promit, how are you, my friend? Good to see you again.
Hello. Good to see you as well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I'm an AI researcher and data scientist by training. I'm a co-founder and chief AI officer of Ray AI Solutions. Very happy to be here with you and with the CEO. I'm also an independent practitioner, and I have another company that's building a virtual chemistry AI assistant. So really excited to be here and talk to you about what we're doing and what
Wonderful.
you're doing.
Let's do that. Thank you so much. Thanks. So, what we're going to do today is a little bit of a chit chat for 10 15 minutes. And then after that, we'll do a lot of build session because Promit has a PhD in. Can you tell us more about your PhD?
I have a PhD in computational chemistry. It was a programming heavy PhD, used a lot of AI for material science, for computational chemistry algorithms. So it's a little bit of everything, but very scientific
Nice.
use of AI.
Wonderful. And also, you have been coding in Python for quite a bit of time, 10 years, I believe. And we'll build something side by side with N8N and Python. So that's the build session. That's later. For the first 15 minutes, we'll do some chit chat, especially in the AI era. And if I may ask, Olga, what do you think nowadays people can achieve with AI, and what was the coolest thing you saw people do, and what was the dumbest thing that you saw people do with AI automation?
I think the technology has evolved in that sense. I've been working in technology for the last 20 years. So, of course, it was a bit more rudimentary until we came to the point that we could start using machine learning models and more, scientific methods to work with data. Now, of course, with the whole hype and development of AI being spread all over, we can see that almost everyone can code, can build flows to solve problems of their daily, tasks. Specifically, I would say work-related tasks, right? That's why you use mostly automation with a goal of helping you relieve some problems or challenges. So in terms of what the greatest things I've seen being built, I think Promit built I think 2 weeks ago, in a session, an agent that was helping people without jobs to look into getting the right leads and the right people to contact on LinkedIn, just to write then and customize really
outreach for applying
exactly for
jobs.
applying for
Nice.
jobs.
That's wonderful.
And that's really cool because
that's the purpose behind it.
Exactly,
It helps people to find jobs.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Wonderful.
So there's a social, like societal
benefit,
right?
Wonderful.
And the dumbest things, I don't know. There are tons of them outside, so
especially those with a lot of N8N workflows on a big screenshot in LinkedIn. Those, I think you know N8N. Like if you build that big of a canvas, it's very hard to debug it.
Yeah, I think it's more about like what you think you can build and translate into a product, if that really works in reality. So.
And one thing, Olga, since you come from business background, before we get into that build session, I'd like to run it by you. Is a lot of people are thinking that AI automation, especially AI and automation, is something that they should go with, but they kind of like jump over the fact that they need to first have a clear process in place.
Correct.
So you come from the business background. Like, tell us more about this. That have you recognized such a pattern in the industry? Do you think that people need to still, like, before getting into any automation platforms or choosing the technology, they should kind of like see their existing processes and then clean it up and put a proper process around it, like these old school BPMN notations and so on. So tell us more about that, like from the business side of it.
Yeah, thank you. I love that question. I was not prepared to get that one.
I didn't know I'm going to ask this question, so it just came to me.
Yeah, no, but you're right. I've been working on operational excellence, so I'm a process innovation and completely process crazy person. I love it to re-engineer processes, and I work with data a lot. And I think that first of all, before going into all the data-heavy discussion, I think having a goal first for implementing technology is like, the starting point, not just how we build that technology, but why we do it.
Yes.
So defining the clear problem of what we're trying to solve.
Yeah.
And that means looking really into measurable data. Do you have, where is the data coming from? And normally that data comes from processes, right? So no matter how great the automation is that you build, if you have broken processes, that won't fix it.
Yeah.
Right? So because the data behind it is crap.
Right.
Or you don't even need it, and you don't, you're gonna scale inefficiencies and
Exactly.
errors. So I do think that the first thing, very old school, and I'll repeat that to everyone, just build yourselves a process map, very easy. It doesn't have to do, you don't have to do it with BPM or whatever but you can just simply use Excel or paper.
And also, like, from the data engineering side of it, if I kind of like can double down on that thinking process, don't you think like a lot of things do not need AI? It's just the old school data plumbing, and yet people are not doing that? And how have you seen that in your experience?
Most things actually do not require AI.
Yes.
And for the things that require AI, the vast majority do not require generative AI. They require traditional machine learning. They require statistical algorithms. So we've basically come to a point where for a man with a hammer, the whole world is a nail. And we are now looking for use cases of generative AI, which you see widespread everywhere. So from the data engineering point of view, I think having your data source verified, your data enrichment, data infrastructure, extract, transform, load processes intact, dashboarding, analytics, rapid, API design done robustly. This is the most important aspect. AI is just the flavoring on top to enhance the whole pipeline and make results really communicate value to business stakeholders.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. There is something wrong with this technology that I built. Sometimes it drops these frames, therefore you saw these black frames. Sorry about that. But the good thing is the voice doesn't break. So the voice is important. Therefore, I didn't want to interrupt you. And it's a little bit intensive because there is no editing in this. So I want to kind of like keep it natural. Wonderful. So from the current world of 2025, as Olga, you saw, we met earlier this year, and all the predictions of these big players, especially in the more far west in the US, North America, their predictions were kind of like almost coming through, like saying like SaaS is dead. Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, was saying like SaaS is dead, and now SaaS companies are struggling. People are building their own software, vibe coding. We had this little what do you call it, N8N SDK that we built in a mini hackathon. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But from the 2025, if you kind of like see that in a retrospective from a business perspective, how do you see that? Like, don't you think 2026 is gonna intensify that? And how do you see 2026?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we're just getting started. It's just a flavor of what 2026 could be. I think we want even more and bigger and brighter and faster. And I think for small companies or companies like us that are starting, it would be much more difficult to keep up with the pace.
Please keep up. Keep
yeah,
on. I will
sure.
just turn on the lights. I just forgot that we forgot to turn on the lights.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
much better.
It's
Now you
much
can
better.
see-
Maybe the cameras
we
were
can all
failing
see the
because of
wrinkles.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
No, so I think absolutely we're in the middle of a race
Yeah.
to be much more inventive, innovative, while we not have yet solved the basics, right, of many of the things. Speaking of our topics that we deal with every day, like ethics and governance, AI governance. So if we don't
I think
take care of
governance
that,
is important.
for
Yeah.
for the basic things that we put out there already, if we just want to make things bigger without fixing those, then we're just exacerbate
Absolutely.
the gaps.
Absolutely. I think the future of AI implementation, especially around these frameworks coming kind of like EU level regulations, EAI Act and so on, but kind of like to the organizational level or to the personal level, when as an AI engineer we build something, how do we personally think about putting something responsibly from the old school world of building web applications with ARIA standards to now building AI applications that could potentially arm people? It's a pretty unconquered waters right now. It's too early to kind of like do anything in that area. How do you guys navigate that when it comes to an AI application that you build that needs to be responsible and has to have all these governance layers implemented in place?
Yeah, so we basically look at two components. From one side, of course, the technical component, that's all on Promit's plate. And from the other
They
side,
blame us at the end of the day.
you're gonna
Whatever goes wrong, we are to blame. Yeah.
safeguards and everything that has to be done from a technical perspective to ensure that the data is not biased, it's accurate, is safe. From the other side, that's the business perspective, the strategical perspective. We make sure that there's an AI strategy attached to the business goals, to the AI, to the company goal, strategy, and that is embedded in culture that allows for ethical frameworks, governance to exist, and not just exist on paper, but really be able to to say stop, or to say let's look at this, and that there's accountability and responsibility about what it's been implemented. It's not just us building technology and putting that out there for clients, and we say it's fine, but it's also for the people that are using it to understand what's the output, understanding if there's bias, how can I recognize it, if there's data coming out of AI, should I believe it 100%, or should I just use my brains and think, okay, maybe not, I should challenge these things. So creating all that awareness and that understanding around the technology, because AI is not perfect, right?
Absolutely.
It's just a tool, a wonderful tool, but I think it's more on us to make sure that the usage is still and always human-centered, because
especially human in the loop. And
exactly, because I truly believe that technology must grow with us and not instead of us.
Exactly.
And now what we're doing with this race is just bigger, and the expectations of what this technology can do are very far behind what it really is. So and I'll give it to Promit, because maybe he wants to talk about the technical.
So the technical question could be like, what applications do you see for especially guardrailing things, putting human in the loop, any application layer that you have thought about that might be helpful for the audience to hear about that?
I think the first and most important thing is explainability and interpretability. So why does a model act the way it does? Why is a certain recommendations, certain decision produced by the AI model? What does it mean? Can you explain how the model behaves? This is an inherent problem with LLMs anyway to begin with, because the output is very, very prone to change. It's not deterministic at all. It's probabilistic, and that is why you get different outputs for the same input multiple
Exactly.
times. A lot of research has been done there. There is a recent paper by OpenAI where they actually showed that you are able to control the output to a large extent and so on. But hallucinations is still a very real
Absolutely,
thing, right?
yes.
And in any case, even if the output is deterministic, but you cannot explain it,
Yeah.
what use is that? So I think it first starts with being able to understand your model well enough yourself. That is the first aspect of ethical AI, governance, and implementing guardrails. The next would then be to figure out how you want to control the output in a way that it's not generating harmful content, aligning with society's needs, aligning with legal requirements. But one can do this reliably and sustainably only if you can first explain and control the output to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely. And in that regards, like what frameworks, like programming frameworks, have you used so far? Python or any other platform that you used?
So I think there are a lot of libraries built into the Python ecosystem. Python is very convenient for machine learning and AI in general, but the algorithms are algorithms and they can be implemented in any programming language at the end of the day. To name a few, there's Lime, which is model agnostic. There is SHAP, which gives you interpretability. My favorite is GradCam, class-assisted mapping, and that's for neural networks. It gives a great degree of explainability and understanding as to how neural networks are making predictions. And I think it explains, a particular output given by a model, so you can actually say this is why the model is making this kind of decision.
I see. Wonderful.
And Sharp scores and Lime values are very easy to implement.
I have not used any of those models. Like literally, Python is something I love. I've been doing it for 4 years or so, but I'm more a JavaScript guy. I've been doing JavaScript for 17 years nonstop, TypeScript 10 years.
Yeah.
And we're kind of like gradually getting into the build session. So we're...
You see, I wanted to say something.
Yes, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't notice.
No, I was going to say, just not to forget the whole compliance and regulation piece, right?
Yes.
So, because that is often seen as a showstopper for innovation, at slowing it down, but actually it's a framework, right? I use this metaphor of the, like the train that wants to go, 300, 400 km/h per hour, kilometers per hour, and then you just, don't build the rails for it to run. So I think I see these frameworks like that.
Yeah.
And if we think about ethics, you don't want to start to putting brakes on something that is already, running at a huge speed afterwards. So in those cases, I mean, any case when we build technology, we are very conscious that it shouldn't harm anyone, that it should be explainable, as Promit said, even if you take decisions, because ethics everywhere in life, not only in technology, they are, it's a compromise of values. It's a decision. So if you decide to do something, just document it. Maybe the technology won't allow to do some things now, but in the future it will. So it's about explaining.
I think if I can kind of like consolidate that as a final train of thought it doesn't come from technology, it comes from the business world. Yeah. And then we find a technological application of that. And especially when it comes to responsible AI, we human beings will find out how we can responsibly implement that. And then around that, whatever technology that we invent, we technical people will invent it. Yeah. And I think that takes us to the build session. We're going to start building something.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll just leave you guys to...
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you so much. Very, very nice to meet you. Thanks so much for sharing your wisdom from business world with us. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I'll take you to the door. Have a nice day. Don't let anyone open the door first. It's a recording in progress with 0 edits. There you go. This is your microphone. It has like a little clip. Goes behind your shirt.
Perfect.
And then let's start the build session.
How do we do it? Where's the clip?
I will do this for you. Just a sec. There you go.
Thank you.
So then,
What are we going to build, Eamon?
going to build? I think we can build something very simple to kind of like put a little. We're gonna put just one camera here so we both are captured on the front here thing.
Amazing.
So what are we going to build? We are going to build something super simple. If you can slide a little bit this way so that we both can
Your
be
camera
fit in
can
the
capture
camera.
you. We'll have to rejoin the Google Meet because it kicked us out.
Please go ahead. And I will let you get in. So what are we going to build? We are going to build something that will be side by side, both with N8N and with
Python.
Python. All right, so I'm going to build it with N8N. So what we are going to do is build the same thing with Python and N8N side by side. Promit, what are we going to build in Python? I'll just follow you and build it in N8N.
Perfect. I would say we scrape an article
Okay.
from the internet.
Okay.
We can choose an article, we scrape it, and then we analyze the article for its strengths, weaknesses, generate a summary, generate a commentary, and maybe send ourselves a WhatsApp message with the commentary.
An email?
An email could work, but
Yeah.
with email you need a little bit of authorization and so on.
Okay.
That requires a little bit. Maybe we focus first on generating the summary.
Okay,
generating some commentary.
I will choose to go with email because I don't have my WhatsApp authentication set up. You can go with WhatsApp.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You can keep
it is to demonstrate the idea after all. It
Yes.
doesn't really.
So side by side, and time to time, if we need to do anything whiteboarding sessions, we'll come in here and then do some whiteboard sessions. Okay.
So we first
All right,
need
my
to
friends.
choose an article, right, to scrape.
For me, I will create like a very generic endpoint so that I can supply any article. Yeah.
Put in any link. But
any link, and then it
you
will
will just
scrape
read it as a
summarize it. Yeah. Even like I will put a prompt to it so that a link, a prompt, whatever the prompt says, and then it extracts it and puts it there. All right.
Perfect.
Should we go first, do the N8N version, and then go to Python, or should we do the Python version first? Or should we do like one step? How do you prefer?
We can do one step.
One step,
At
okay.
a time. Yeah.
Then let's start. Is it okay if I go first?
Yes.
I'm kind of like nervous.
Not just.
I want to
okay,
fail.
would prefer that.
I want to fail first, and then when he is implementing it, so that I can fix it, instead of the way around. Okay, so this is how I would do it. You can see the screen when I'm doing it. So, well, I think you know N8N so much. Well,
Yes,
actually,
yes.
we said we are going to show you guys a little bit about the Python SDK that we built together. So what we have done was we went to. I had this little mini hackathon set up that took us. Oh, look at that! I have now 333 videos. What
Lovely.
a nice number. So I post a lot of videos, and it's here, this one. So we did a hackathon, and we built something. We let AI generate code on autonomous, like so-called YOLO mode. And what happened was we spent $27, 4 hours, and we were like literally in this room and kind of like brainstorming and then putting together everything. In 4 hours, this entire Python SDK was generated. And when I may only open that's a very good thing. Like it's the moment when you're presenting this. So this is the demo that Promit presented. Maybe Promit, you can talk about this a little bit.
Absolutely, with pleasure. Don't want to go into the nitty-gritties of it for the podcast, but basically, I love N8N and I love Python.
Yeah.
But I wanted to use them together.
Yeah.
And I found there's no easy way to do it. If I'm making my own workflow in Python, I'm building something for data science, and now I want my nodes to be created automatically in N8N. So I can add one little thing, bring it back in Python, and then continue working. So basically use the two in sync with each other.
Yeah.
So what I wanted was to be able to quickly do something in Python and automatically have this show up in an A10. We started with some very simple nodes and define them, use the N8 and API.
So here, for example, you have like a Python file, deploy
Yeah.
workflow.py.
Yeah.
It takes what? So it takes like some credentials, some API keys of the, you can see here, the API keys of the N8N.
Yes, so it takes an N8N base URL, it takes the API key.
Okay.
This is important because it has to identify my N8N account
Right.
to create the workflow.
Yes.
Then, of course, you have to define your nodes. So you have a start node.
This was what we built together, right? The start node, the set position of the node.
Exactly.
So these lines of code from Python will translate into a JSON at the end of the day.
No, more than that, because it uses the N8N API. So it's going to generate the JSON and put it into N8N
Correct.
as a workflow.
So it generates that JSON as a payload of an API call that will create the node inside N8N.
Exactly.
So we started actually to generate just the JSON so that we can copy paste, but Promit is this genius who goes the extra mile. He built the API interface that actually generates the N8N workflow on N8N instance. So that's wonderful. And then literally the rest of them is just like creating the node, like creating the entire workflow. And then once you run it, you see the success message, and then this is the N8N workflow that you have built literally by executing the Python script.
Yes, and this is a very simple example because it's just a three-component workflow.
Yes.
But it's so easy to generate. You just say
Yes.
add this, add that, and execute the Python script, and there's
Crazy.
your workflow.
That's the future of vibe coding. Like, not knowing. Well, this was very simple. We knew it how to do it, but we just for fun of it in that hackathon went and did it all by vibe coding approach, and that worked. Especially with the other version that we did, like in using this so-called vibe box, this tiny open source project that I'm working on, and in one shot it worked. Like, do you remember that? 75 tasks, 75 subtasks, and then 2-3 AI agents together started executing all those tasks, and eventually it gave us what worked off the shelf. Like literally we ran it, no extra change, it worked. Wow, I am so amazed to be a part of this little AI journey that we have a lot more to discover in the future. So let's go to our plans. So let's plan things here. What are we going to build? We're going to build a scraper, right?
Yes.
So AI scraper. Let's call it AI scraper.
Yes.
So we're going to build an AI scraper. And what we want is an endpoint that will have like 2 params. It's going to be a post endpoint, right?
Yes.
And the payload will look something like this. So the method is going to be post. The payload of the contract is going to be literally having
The URL.
2 things in it. The URL, what you want to do, and the prompt, I would say. Would you agree with this?
Absolutely.
That's correct, right?
Yeah.
So let's do this like this. So there is going to be a Python version of this so that we can side-by-side compare. And then there is going to be an N8N version of this. Or maybe if I want to go first. You put N8N first. I'm just a little bit worried about how it's going to end up because I have not used this scraper I have in mind. So I'm going to use Firecrawl. Have you used Firecrawl before? Do you know Firecrawl?
No, I haven't used
So
Firecrawl.
I'm going to use Firecrawl. I'm going to use a webhook. And I'm going to use an AI agent node. And then that's it. I think that should be it. There will be like, well, the sequence will go something like this. There will be a webhook, Firecrawl, AI agent, and then a respond to webhook. These are my nodes that I'm going to use. What are you going to use? Libraries or something you want me to write here?
Very cool. I will have an API endpoint, which will be the equivalent of the webhook, which is what
Fastify
you
or
did,
something?
Fast API.
Fast
Yeah.
API.
Fast API endpoint, which you will hit with these two parameters.
Okay.
I will see whether it's necessary to use a crawler. If
Oh, I see. So a normal HTTP request
normal
should give
HTTP
you
request should
the
be if it is a
HTML.
Substack. I was going to use my own Substack or something
I see.
because then it's easier to get it directly. If you go to, of course, a new
I see, I
Guardian or
see.
New York Times, then you have to scrape because they will not
Because
allow
the
you to just pick
bypasser,
it.
the bot, and
Exactly.
everything. that's why I was thinking about using Firecrawl. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
if I have to do that, then for Python it would be scrapey.
So then you need to do a GET request, basically.
HTTP
A
get
HTTP,
request.
HTTP
Yes.
GET request.
If it works, this is the best.
Okay.
If it doesn't,
And then you just basically respond use a OpenAI API call.
OpenAI API call
ChatGPT.
with the input from the previous
Right.
HTTP endpoint and add a prompt. And the prompt will basically be from
I
the
see. And then you respond
API
back to
endpoint.
the HTTP request.
Exactly.
Okay.
That would be the flow.
Respond to HTTP request. Okay. So super simple. I think we have quite a bit of time.
So what we can do is we can try to find an article on the internet for N8N as well that doesn't require a crawler, and you just try
Okay.
with the HTTP node and see if you're able to
I think my if I take amosai.com, maybe not the page, the about page. So if I take this one, I will quickly check it out on N8N.
Exactly.
If it does not require anything, then we are good to go.
Awesome.
And then we can literally do it with HTTP, and then no need to do anything else. Alrighty, so I'm gonna create this workflow. I'll just start with the click trigger, HTTP request, a GET request, and about, and voila, I get all the data. So we don't need a
Amazing.
crawler.
Awesome.
So
I
I'm
will
gonna
use your
send it
page
to
as
you.
well. I have it. I'll find it. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
amosai.com/about. And let's see. How about this? We build it side by side.
Okay. So
And
you-
then we keep talking. Yeah, that's a good idea. So you share your screen.
Okay,
I'm gonna
so
put you here.
I'll join the
and I will
Google
put this
Meet
one here.
and
Yeah.
I'll share my screen. And
Nice.
We can build it side by
Yeah,
side.
actually, we will do it side by side. So like at the same time, we build everything together. How about we do a race?
No, that's not fair.
I was going to persuade him to do a race because I'm sure with anything it's gonna take
Much less
2
time.
minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so no race, but we do normal
But
ones.
we do the normal way. You would like me to share my screen, right?
Share your screen and let's do this.
But I don't need my camera.
Yes, sir. Okay. So now what we have in mind is a very simple workflow. The workflow would be just for privacy. If you turn off your WhatsApp, then it's,
I did. Yeah.
Okay. So then for what we are going to do is I will explain something, do one step, and then you do and explain something, okay? So for me, I have my Postman here. What I will do is when I start, I want to make sure to have all my things in order and make sure that I can run things in the right way and it's working. So what I will do is I'll just put a webhook here, respond, post, and respond immediately. So I will just do that and literally run it, take the UI from here, send a request here with the body as JSON. And we already spoke about what would be the JSON in here in our whiteboard. This is going to be the JSON. So I'm going to send this JSON to here. And the URL is HTTPS. All right, so what we are going to do is, that's cheating. You're working on it.
No,
before.
I'm just writing my prompt. I'm going to write code from scratch.
Okay, that's fine. You need to do it under the
Okay.
recording.
Okay.
So let me put this little prompt here. How many years of experience Emil has? I'm not sure if from the About page I can find, but let's check it from there. And I'm not even sure if Emil Sai word is used in here or not. So I do this, and then I get the request here. And usually what I do is I'm using this pen feature so that I can freeze the data. So basically what I was looking for is these two things, URL and prompt. So I'm going to stay here, wait here until you arrive. What I have done is I created a webhook URL that I can send a request to, and then it comes back with the response from there. So this response is right now literally sending everything that you send to it, but it will change to the response of the prompt itself.
Okay. So right now it is just giving you back the URL and the prompt that
Yes.
you enter.
So
Awesome.
so let's do that in Python. Let's make a web API.
I will do this. My screen is visible, right?
Yes.
Awesome. So what I will do is I will use this vibe coding tool called Cursor, and I'm going to use the voice functionality. Let's just check that it works. Hello.
Did it work?
It doesn't seem to work. So what I will do is I will take whisper typing,
Oh, nice.
and
yeah.
this will now work. Okay. Please write me a fast API endpoint that simply takes a URL and a prompt from the user and returns this back as an output. I want this to be deployable so I can run it on Swagger and check that when I give in a URL and a prompt, I also get this back in my output.
Nice. So
you see that this has now shown up in Cursor, and I will see what Cursor now does for me.
wonderful.
For the interested audience, Cursor is a vibe coding tool that is a clone of VS Code. So they took Visual Studio Code and basically added some AI into it. Now you can go and make your prompt, and it writes code for you. Since this is a simple example, there is no need to really review the code, but basically it's a post endpoint that is created here, and it just simply echoes. This should work out of the box, and it
Nice.
says, should I start the server for you? I
So
will keep
basically
on.
what this has done is it took, let me quickly set this camera up properly. Okay, so what it did was, let me read your code a little bit. So it created a class, it added the echo endpoint as a post,
Exactly.
and a get endpoint that returns just simple
The API information.
API information. That's wonderful.
Exactly.
So what do we have? Can you run your Postman and then let's check it out?
This is what I'm going to do. For fast API, we actually don't need Postman. It's a little bit cooler than N8N. No, I'm kidding. But you can actually run it with UVCon, except that I need to create, but that's fine. I will actually take my VNV from another project so that I can actually use it here quickly without hassle.
Okay.
Then I don't have to.
My terminal is much better than yours, man. I am gonna show you some terminal skills in just a minute.
Good. Now I'm into my VNV. I can just go back and now try what I tried a moment earlier, and it should work. So now if I simply open this up in my browser here and just say docs.
Why don't you run it in Postman? Because you have a post endpoint, right? We're supposed to send a
Yeah.
post endpoint.
No, you can do this here, but I have to see why it is not working.
8,000. Maybe run it in incognito. You have.
No, it is running on this server. That's what it says. So it should work here, and then works. Or no.
Can you kill all the ports which is listening to 8,000 or change the port? Maybe the port is something that is blocked. I usually, when I have like these ports, and I kind of take it apart and then post it in another port.
But I will go back to cursor and ask it to fix it for me if it doesn't, that doesn't work in a minute.
That's 100% vibe coding, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, dokie.
My URL does not load the Swagger dashboard.
So
Help me.
actually, look at this guy. It's like Promit is really experienced guy, like does Python for 10 years. And I was feeling guilty of doing like vibe coding even before Andre Karpathy coined the term. And now Promit is senior and he does it. So there's no guilt on doing vibe coding, like literally asking everything from AI.
No, there should be no guilt.
There should be no guilt.
So it says that it's going to check if the server is running. It's checking it for me. It's saying server is running, but from a different virtual environment, checking if it's accessible because I switched.
Could be because you had a virtual environment and it was locally available, but not exposed to the port. Yeah. So that's nice. So this is literally what we have done for like webhook. It's just going to respond back. As soon as that's done, then we'll take to the next step, which is building the scraper. All right, so
it should work, but just see. If not, I'll get out of the VNV install.
Yeah, makes sense. Then run it to your local environment, then it should just work fine.
Maybe we can just start that.
Absolutely, makes sense. All right.
You can continue if you like.
Okay.
Because I will get this to work and then show it in the
makes sense. Then let's go to the Python world of this particular thing. So sorry, not to the Python, but to the anything world of exactly building this thing. So what I want is to now build, like, add an HTTP request node that will take everything from this URL called emilsire.com/about and fetch all the data. So all of this text is in there. And if I want to kind of like take it one step at a time, I will just send back this HTML to the requester. So this should do the job. Now if I quickly run this and unpin my data from here so that I can start executing this thing, and I will literally try to do the following just so that I can see it working on the side, only because I like the mesmerizing animation of this. So if I send this request, it's going to go there, and then it will come back with all the HTML that I have received here. So it's working perfectly fine. So I'm done with... I'm done with the next step. Are you done? Are you done?
No, I'm not. But what I will do is I'm going to make my life a little bit easier.
Okay. So if you keep asking me to continue, my friend, I will finish this in 2 minutes. Should I continue?
You could, because once it's set up, the ChatGPT integration is easier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I will continue with the next steps while My friend is taking care of the rest. Okay. So I have the request coming in here, which is literally nothing but these two things. A URL in a prompt. Now, what I want to do next is add in here a simple AI agent node. It's not so nice way to do this because the amount of HTML sitting in there is going to cost us a lot of tokens. It's not the best way to do it. The best way would be to kind of like go to Firecrawl, scrape it based on Firecrawl's crawlers, and don't send the entire HTML to ChatGPT. But it works. It just will work. But it will not work for all the scrapers. So therefore, I'm saying it's not the best way to do it. Okay, I'm going to add AI agent node in here. And this AI agent node will have an OpenAI integration. I have already the credentials set up. And what I want to output is, well, I can structure the output, but also the normal output that comes out of the AI agent node should be good enough. So the only thing I will do is I'll give this system prompt, and I'll say you're an alpha assistant. Respond to the user queries, and the system prompt will be an expression. So the data is sitting inside in this chat GPT, but the prompt is sitting here. So in here we'll say that literally the prompt in the first question and the data in the second line of that. So if we go here, the entire data that was responded back from HTTP request goes here. So basically, if I show it in big form, this is what ChatGPT sees. How many years of experience the sire has, and then this is the entire data. I think it makes sense to kind of like show up, find it from this data. Something like that. So that there is like some indications to the LLM saying what it has to say. All right, so let's give it a try now. I have this request coming in here. If I run this workflow and then I run it here, I should get a response anytime now. There you go. Woo! Look at that. Beautiful.
What was your question? How many years of experience does Emil Sire have, right?
Yes. So the question was this. Can you see the screen? So this was the URL, this is the question, and this is the answer. And that's correct answer, because I know myself. All right, so to be honest, my project is done entirely. My project is done, my friend.
Yes.
Yours?
Now,
can I go to you?
Yes.
Let's go to you.
So
then.
this is.
Hold on. Where is your stuff?
This is Swagger. This is the first step that you did.
Hold on.
Which is.
Let me put the camera on you. There you go. So you also created a Swagger file for
Yes.
that.
So this is localhost docs. I was having a little bit of trouble getting this set up, but now this is.
What was the problem?
It was basically running on localhost, but I had a 0.00 URL, so I had to just reset that quickly. Cursor pointed me in the right direction actually, because
so
this
vibe coding works.
And then this is now a post request as we wanted. I can go to try it out, and I will basically put URL as your URL. So we can use your about page, and I can put in the prompt the same way you did, which would be how many years of experience does this guy have. And at the moment, all it will return is basically what you had in your first step. The response is 200, it works, it returns the URL and the prompt.
Nice.
So this is step one. So we do have a functional endpoint. Now I go back to cursor and I say I want to create a new point which will not just echo, but scrape the data from the URL, take the user prompt and hit OpenAI API with it, and return the response. take my OpenAI API key from my...
Meanwhile,
ANV
if
file.
I can hijack the call just for a second
Yes.
to analyze and say why this was not a good idea, what I have done, and what can it be done better. Because this is such a huge text. You can see this is such a huge text. It will increase the token consumption. So let's go and check it out. So if you click here, you'll see all of your nodes. And when you click on each node, you'll see the kind of like the output in here on the right side. So when you click on this AI agent node, you can see that there were 47,000 tokens consumed for this particular question. In order to put this in perspective, what I will do is add a click listener, like a manual trigger. So manual trigger goes here so that I can trigger something I have in mind. And I will put another AI agent and I'll give it an OpenAI API key. And I'll just ask something very simple, kind of like, what is the population of Germany? And that's it. So if I execute this particular workflow, you'll see how many tokens this thing takes. So this took like 37 tokens. So you can imagine, like, if you send a question that has like literally tiny pieces of text, it consumes less tokens. And if you send a question that is kind of like that much of content in it, where in this case it was this one, and then we send it, let me quickly pin it over and then re-execute this. So I'm gonna execute that particular workflow one more time. Now you can see that first it takes a lot of time to run. Besides that, it takes 47,000 tokens. What does 47,000 tokens means is if you go to OpenAI API pricing, not normal pricing, but API pricing, you'll see a number here. There is like, we were talking about ChatGPT 5, and I was not using ChatGPT 5. I was using 4.1 mini. It's this one. But you get the point. So 1 million tokens of input cost 80 cents, and 1 million tokens of output cost $3.20. What does that mean? It means that when input tokens are the things that are going into the model. So basically, in this case, it was an input token. Output token is the amount of text that it generates, and then it responds back to you. So how many of these questions will cost me? How much is the thing? So something around 20 of these, 47,000, 50,000, 20 of this will cost me 80 cents. So you can always think about it in that token consumption way, and then you can optimize your stuff. Now, in this case, it's not so much. 20 of them will only cost 80 cents. It's like kind of like, I don't know, 4 cents, if I'm doing the math correctly. Now, in bulk, when you're running something really big, this tiny little cents will add up. So the way you can do this is, there are a lot of ways to scrape this. This random example was random anyways. What you could do is like write some regular expressions to trim this out, like literally take all the content out. Do you have some time? Can I take this ahead?
Yeah.
Or do you want to? Do you need some more time?
No, you can take a few more minutes.
Yeah, I want to really nail this thing.
Go for it.
So for example, here, what I can do is I'll just take a copy of this so that we have something that we don't break it. And what I want to do is add a code node in here. This code node will do something. I'll explain what this will do. And well, actually, I can give it a try. A try to do some coding using the AI node that we have. So this AI node can do build for you, and then I'll ask this the following thing. Can you please put some code in the code in JavaScript node that you already have? And this code should literally trim, it should have some regular expressions that it should trim and remove all the HTML from this HTTP request node. The only thing it should leave is the text that is inside the website, not the HTML code. It should basically remove all the HTML code. So this was totally unplanned, unscripted. So I'm going into the territory of trying this feature that I have not tried so much. I'm going to let this thing run and also copy the prompt because I want also to do the same thing with this chat GPT node. So I'll use this generate vanilla JavaScript for anything code node. So it knows what it needs to do. And meanwhile that's running, we'll keep an eye on this one so that we see what happens. So your workflow is ready to be executed. Oh, nice. So it perhaps put some code in here. If we quickly check this out, it has removing all, there are some regular expressions in here. What it would do is if I just run this field and then it outputs something, and then let's see that something, there we go. Perfect, perfect. What I now see is literally just text in here, nothing else. Now, let's execute the next steps. Now, if I see the number of tokens, well, the answer to this is still the same answer. Emil Sire has 23 years of experience in software development, but the number of tokens is now 3,800 tokens. You see that? 47,000 tokens reduced to 3,800 tokens. So it's literally the simple principles of software engineering you need to keep an eye on when you're doing these kind of like flowgramming things. So one workflow, this workflow costs you 47K tokens, and literally the other workflow cost you, let me quickly do this. So we have these two workflows. This we don't need to do anything about. So we have literally these two workflows. This workflow, because of this one thing, costs 3.8K tokens, and this one costs 47K tokens. Simple and easy, like literally removing the tags does the job, return the same thing. All right, back to you, my friend.
Perfect. Am I on camera?
Your camera is coming and your screen is coming in just a sec. Your screen is here and your camera will be there in...
Perfect, perfect. There we go. Good job, Emil. I was listening to you, watching you, and getting inspired. In the meantime, Cursor has done my tasks for me. So basically, I make a connection to OpenAI.
Okay.
Ask it to take my API key from my environment file. This is the prompt that I typed in before we switched over to you. We already had the endpoint to simply echo the prompt. I needed a new functionality now, which is basically to scrape. So I want a URL, and this is just a GET request. But usually, if you wipe code this, it'll put a user agent because that allows with a little bit of proxy rotation, so you don't get blocked that easily. And I use Beautiful Soup to simply get my text for me, and it raises some exceptions if not. So I have
can you go to the Beautiful Soup package that you use?
Yes.
So here, exactly what we have done there by removing Beautiful Soup is an extractor. It's a parser.
Yes.
It's an HTML parser.
Exactly. This is Beautiful Soup, which is a Python library to simply take an HTML page and get what you need out from it.
Nice, nice. And what do you use with Beautiful Soup?
So Beautiful Soup simply gets you
Is it soap or
text.
soup?
Beautiful Soup, yes.
Soup, like the eating soup, not
Eating
the soup.
soup, yes.
Okay.
But it's very beautiful
Because of cleaning and extracting, I was always thinking about it's a soap.
It's Beautiful Soup. It's soup and it's beautiful because it's extracting your content.
I see. And what are you doing here? Look, the soap.getText.
Yes.
Look at that, guys. Look at that. Like literally not knowing this, I was already doing this HTML extraction with regular expression. But this is, I think, web development software
what it
engineering
is.
101, yeah?
It's exactly what it is. And then, of course, I need an endpoint to expose so that I can hit it the same way you were hitting it. And what should the endpoint do? It should take whatever Soup has given me and send this over to OpenAI along with my API key. Of course, there are some details as to which model. The messages have to have a certain format in it and handles all that for you implicitly. And then it has to return what has come out from the scraping back in the response. And this is basically the code. How this looks, if I now go back to Swagger, is this. So this is my new endpoint. It's called scrape and analyze, and I can put in a URL here. So I use the same URL that Emil used, and I will put the prompt, can you summarize the text here? This is what it responded. It says scrape content, Emil Saya workshop, voice AI agent, and so on. So basically, it's able to get the page. It's able to then summarize this for me and give this back to me. It gives me the URL prompt, as was the case earlier. It then gives me the scraped content, and it also gives the OpenAI response, which is the text is a detailed overview of your professional experience and so on.
Wonderful.
So it works.
It works. So what you guys just saw was a simple N8N versus Python scraper. Not a scraper, but kind of like getting the HTML with an API request, and then sending an API request to OpenAI. But what we saw is, to be honest, both of us were at the same speed, almost same speed. But if you would be writing that code, that Python code by hand, I'm not sure if it would be that fast.
No, definitely not.
Python.
And even with cursor, I got a little bit of convenience time because you were explaining things, and I could fix, because the first draft very often doesn't work. Then you have to fix. To fix, you have to know what to say, what not to say, and then
it's always the problem of like going in a rhythm. Once you're in the rhythm, and then cursor also builds a little bit context around your problem, and then it can fix things faster. Wonderful. I think if we keep building, we're going to prolong this podcast even further. I think we had a little bit build session. We had a little bit chit chat session.
Yes.
As a closing remarks, what do you want to say? What is it? The next thing that you are seeing as someone highly educated, as someone having a PhD in AI, what is coming? Like, what is the next wave? What's next in this world? Like, the world is changing so fast, especially with these AI models and everything coming out super fast. What's next?
Democratization, I think. Automation for everybody. Everybody is going to build. English is going to be the next programming language, or whatever language that you would like to speak in is going to be the next programming language.
Yes.
There's going to be no interface in between, no inconvenience in between. And all of these problems that we are now having, too many tokens used, not understanding, not able to scrape, getting blocked, all of that will vanish with time as technology gets better, faster, and more used by the so-called non-technical people.
Absolutely. And I think this is literally the future, like English language, or understanding how to prompt, how to actually describe a problem. This is a lot of people already talking about, like the future of prompt engineering. How do you distinguish prompt engineering from like normal engineering tasks?
Prompt engineering is understanding how to talk to AI, some understanding of how large language models work, and AI's view of a prompt. This is the foundation of prompt engineering, of course, then put into deployment context, production-ready context, and so on. Engineering is understanding how different components of a tech stack fit together. And this is more fundamental and at a more basic level, but forms the foundation for any successful generative AI deployment. So I think they complement each other rather than really replacing each other.
Absolutely, I would say so. And some people were saying like, hey, prompt engineering is dead, and there won't be any requirements for people knowing the problem area and kind of asking the LLMs to solve it. I also agree to a certain extent, like you need to have more engineering knowledge to kind of explain that to an LLM. But yeah, it was great to have this amazing conversation. I really enjoyed the build session. I think I'm gonna serialize. It's just the start, like literally 2-3 episodes now with this new setup that I started. So I'm gonna create a little bit more momentum before I decide to kind of like take it more in a standardized way so that I can do more of this. And one of those cameras are broken. I think that camera is broken when it kicks in. Then my entire setup is broken. But yeah, it's working fine right now. At least these cameras are working perfectly fine. That one camera is broken. I know what to debug this next weekend. We'll keep these two cameras. I really enjoyed the build session. As I said, thank you so much for being my guest.
Thank
A little
you.
bit of a chaos with my cameras this time, but it's okay. This imperfection is making this sweet.
Absolutely. Thank you. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.